on this beautiful December 18th day. I do believe we do have a quorum, right, Brian? Yes, thank Amanda, thank you for nodding your head. It's really good to see everybody. I wish you all a very merry and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we're going to get started, and as we always do, we do roll call. If we'll start down here with Chuck. You're usually over there. You guys are tricking me.
I'm very confused myself, as usual. So good morning, everyone. Chuck Prather, the Birchwood, downtown St. Petersburg.
Good morning, everyone. Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina.
Amanda Coffey, County Attorney's Office.
And you all know me, Kathleen Peters.
Ryan Loack, Visit St. Pete, Clearwater.
Russ Kimball, Sheraton Sand Key, Clearwater Beach.
Brian Scott, Pinellas County Commission.
Dan Saraki, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar. Merry Christmas.
Morning, Bruce Rector, Mayor of the City of Clearwater.
Good morning, Doreen Moore, TRS, Travel Resort Services, Vacation Rentals.
Great. Well, it's so wonderful to see everybody. I'm going to go right to business and look for an approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion?
Chair, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That passes unanimously. I want to, before we go to public comments, and I do have some comments of my own, but before I do that, I'm going to, I want to bring Robin Miller up. Robin, as you know, is with the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber, and I'm sure all of you have heard she is leaving us. I was quite surprised and sad, but you're going to a beautiful place, and I know you've got a wonderful, beautiful future. So I know you had some comments, and then we have a gift for you, and I'd love to take a picture with you if that's okay.
Thank you. You raised the microphone up from yesterday's comments, I see. Thank you for giving me just a moment. I'd asked Brian if I could just take a couple minutes. 17 years at the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber, and I had no idea when I started that position how deep and involved we really would be and how I professionally would become in the tourism industry here in Pinellas County. And I know that the organization itself, and myself are extremely grateful for how wonderful everyone in tourism has been to the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber. And just thank you for everything that you all have taught me. I mean, I've religiously attended or have watched TDC meetings that entire time. I feel like I am going off into a smaller tourism community with a lot of knowledge that I can share and help another community grow, prosper, and maybe even take a little trade secrets from you all and implement some great tourism ideas. But all in all, I am really going to miss Pinellas County as a whole, the chamber, but especially our tourism partners. So thank you so much for everything.
And thank you, Robin, for everything you did after the storm and all the ribbon cuttings and every time I would see your video clips, I would it's exactly what I needed to lift my spirits. And so thank you for everything you do. I've got a gift for you.
Definitely going to need that bag since everything in my being is packed up. That's why I've wet hair today, no hair dryer.
And you'll come back and visit. Thank you. Thank you. You travel safe. Stay in touch. Robin, you've been a great asset. It's going to be tough for someone to fill your shoes. So I had some other stuff I wanted to share last month. The work we've been doing on the sand for beach nourishment. As you know, I had met with the president right after Hurricane Milton. And when he had called the night of Hurricane Milton, he gave me the cell phone number to his chief of staff. And I've been working ever since to try and get the language we need, not only in WRDA, but in the disaster plan. And our lobbyist, Harry, has worked so hard Even up until Saturday, I got the chief of staff at the White House language to see if we can't get it in the disaster package. We were not successful, I'm sorry to say, but we did get, there was extra money put in, I think almost double the amount of money was put in the disaster package. So Harry's feeling very hopeful that we will get some of that money, and in turn, we can work with Army Corps. And the language in there says that they have to fund projects that were already slated, which would then, if that money is in there, then we could get those previous projects from Idalia and these two storms funded and sand put on the beach. So we're hopeful for that. We don't know, but there is more money put in the package, and we're hopeful that that money then can be directed for us to put sand back on the beaches. So just know we're working diligently. I know Congresswoman Luna has been celebrating that the Luna language passed. Unfortunately, in that language, it says that they have to give public access for up to 50 years. So to many residents, 50 years is the same as into perpetuity. So, I'm not ready to celebrate that language yet, and we still got work to do on that one. So, so I wanted to give you that update. And then there's something else that impacts tourism. We don't ever talk about it, and I felt it was important to mention it because this law that passed in the legislature last year can have an impact on the economy, on business, and on tourism. I think the sheriff has done an outstanding job to address that law that starts on January 1st, and that is House Bill 1365. And it means that you can't camp outside. You can't sleep outside. So what does that mean with our homeless population? And I know why the legislature passed that bill. I know what the intention was. But what the sheriff has done, he's been very proactive, because the cities and the county could get sued if people are, by businesses, if somebody is homeless, sleeps on their property or by their doorway or anything like that. So the sheriff has been, and the county funded case managers and counselors to work in the street as outreach, and affected law enforcement agencies to work to educate the affected homeless population to come up with alternatives to public overnight sleeping so that we are compliant with the new law. The sheriff conducted overnight public sleeping counts in May and showed about 400 people sleeping in public spaces that would be prohibited by the law. They conducted subsequent counts that showed that the population is decreasing as our mitigation strategies took effect. The most recent count conducted over the last week or so shows that 142 people were overnight sleeping in public spaces, and no groups and no open and obvious sleeping such as on sidewalks, etc. The collective efforts and strategy worked, and Pinellas County is in good shape. He believes the number of people who are actually overnight sleeping in public spaces is nominal and that we are compliant with the law across the country. Nevertheless, we will continue using the counselor and case managers to ensure we don't regress and informally monitor the situation. We will not do any further formal counts unless there becomes a reason to. So he had sent this out this morning and wanted to thank the county and the cities that have all been working together to address this. I think public sleeping can be a detriment to our tourists. I think it can frighten some of our tourists. So I think the work that he and the cities and the county have done is really been a yeoman's job, because this is, homelessness has been a problem for a very long time. It's been a difficult problem for many businesses for a long time. And I just think when a tourist comes to Pinellas County, they're not going to see that element like in some other cities where they go and they really see that element, and maybe fear or don't feel safe. And so I think this is one more step to make sure our tourists, when they come and visit, have a sense of safety. And so, so I'm really proud of the work that we've all done. It's been a great collaborative effort. And like I said, I know that's not something we talk about here, but it certainly has an impact on tourism. And when homelessness gets out of control, that's a message to our tourists that we don't ever want to give. So with that, I'm going to move on and get back to business. Also, before I get back to business, I'm so pleased, I'm sure you all know and have heard, the county has fulfilled their, the beginning of their contractual obligation to fund the bonds for the stadium. I believe that that project with the development project, it's really like the first time we ever had a big, huge planned development project to this magnitude. And it really can be an incredible asset to this destination long-term. And so I'm very excited that the county moved forward last night to fund those bonds. And I look forward to, as the stadium gets built and they start developing that and create that park and the space that's been designated to be done, I think it gives us a whole nother thing to market, to sell, and to just demonstrate that this destination is the best destination in Florida, the best beach destination, because it has so many other things more than just a sleepy beach town. Our city has grown and developed into a really dynamic place and there's something for everybody. And I think that vote last night takes us in the direction to continually add more things for the experience for anyone that wants to come here. And I'm very excited and very pleased about that. I wanna thank my colleagues. I think they all were statesmen. I think they all did a lot of homework and a lot of work and really studied and met with the city numerous times, met with the Rays numerous. I mean, they really put in the work to truly understand it. And in the end, I think the right decision was made, and I'm just very proud of our colleagues. So now I'm going to let everybody get back to business. And to me, it's been a great day and a great way for me to wrap up my year as chairman. It has been a wonderful experience, and I'm going to miss you all. This, hands down, is the best committee I've ever served on, and I'm going to miss you all. So, and you're so lucky to have the team that Brian has put together. We've really got an amazing team. So I know I'm going to leave you in good hands with Commissioner Scott and with this team. So with that, I don't see public comment cards. Okay, so we're going to go on to presentations. Let's get into the meat of it, because I think we've got some great news after trying last quarter. So if we want to bring up the department highlights, Brian, are you going to do that? Or
Actually, this is going to be an opportunity for each of the individual departments to highlight some of their accomplishments from 2024. So I believe Katie Bridges from Advertising and Promotions will take care of the marketing portion of the presentation.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, good morning. Happy holidays. I'm excited to lead off the department highlights, focusing on the marketing division. I get the pleasure of representing the advertising and promotions, public relations, and digital and data, and the 11 awesome members of our team here to share some of the exciting highlights of 2024, and it was a great year. I will just start off with just kind of a basic recap of the by the numbers. So a large portion of our job is creating advertising and creating commercial spots and print ads and radio and really getting St. Pete Clearwater name out for recognition. And we were with partnership with our agencies, which I mentioned are in the room as well, BVK and Miles Partnership, and our PR agency, MMGY. We were able to create a lot of awareness about us, delivering over 3.3 billion media impressions across all platforms. So that includes radio, television, print, and out-of-home advertising, and that includes significant bonus and added value. So when our agencies are planning media, they're looking for a great value, but then they're really working with the media providers to get bonus added value inclusions that really move the needle. Our social media team is amazing, and with all of the wonderful things and the partners and our destination, they were able to deliver 5.7 million engagements with the content that they produced. And our PR team, who they're responsible for the earned media, getting publications to talk about us and write about us, inviting them to our destination, and they were able to garner nearly $66 million in earned media value across the globe. That consisted of over 700 stories. And they hosted 40 journalists and content creators from several of our key markets. And then they also go to events throughout the year and meet with media in their locations. Sorry, so that included several media marketplaces in New York City, London, Munich, Berlin, also traveling out to California this year for the IPW and several other events that they attend. So now I'm just going to chat through some of the exciting, milestone events that happened throughout the year and projects that we worked on. So first, in January, we were able to host the team from WWE Royal Rumble and the fans, largest ever event at Tropicana Field. And it was a really awesome opportunity for us to leverage that audience with some media value. So we hosted some of the WWE players out on the beach and created content that we were able to create a video, and it was our largest, most viewed Instagram reel ever. So the power of the athletes from WWE Royal Rumble, bringing them into the destination and creating content that further expanded. We hosted a press conference to, again, get that information out, and then created a sweepstakes. To, again, keep the word talking that we are hosting WWE Royal Rumble, and we're, and that garnered over 4,000 entries. Next, in April, we hosted the solar eclipse activation. So that was all of the talk at the beginning of the year is that we're going to have a solar eclipse. And so we wanted to take advantage of that conversation and be a part of it, knowing that we are the destination of sun. So we participated in an event in Indianapolis. It was the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Total Solar Eclipse event. There was over 50,000 attendees, and our brand activation team headed up there and engaged with the audience there at the event and letting them know that, hey, in St. Pete, Clearwater, the sun is always shining. And with that, we were able to get some media and PR out of that, over 104 million impressions for that activation. And then one thing, too, we did a partnership, NIL deal with Zach Edey, who is a Purdue player. It was in Indianapolis, and it was the same weekend as the Final Four. So that was an exciting partnership that we were able to do with his likeness. And then also partnered with our event, our Sugar Sand Festival, that was also going on the same time, and highlighting, hey, come out to the beach, and we can see our partial solar eclipse at that event. A new initiative that we did this year with a part of our print media buy is we created these How We Shine advertorials. So it was a little different than just doing a full page print ad, but we were able to highlight some specific stories and real authentic content that people are interested in reading about and learning about. And so it doesn't feel so much like an ad, it's more like a content for them to read. And it's written by the writers of Minneapolis, of the three publications we worked with, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Atlanta, and Chicago. And we were able to highlight several different stories in all of those publications. So from our beaches and our water activity to our art scene, to our craft beer and food and dining scene, and all of the events in our destination. It was a really great way to highlight, kind of dive deeper with some content that was authentic to those publications. And we'll be continuing that this year, kind of changing it up a little bit, but we loved how it turned out. One other element that we've been really exploring a little more is these custom content episodes. So there's a lot of stations that are coming on board, and everyone's looking for content. And so we hosted three different productions here in the destination to create marketing videos. The first one was 18 Holes. It's a golf-focused show, 30-minute episode, two 30-minute episodes, one focused on the Bayou Club and one focused on the Pelican. And each episode airs 500 times across Bally Sports. I was actually up in Wisconsin this summer, and there it was on TV. So it was really exciting to see that. Second is partnership with Misty Wells. She has a show called Let's Take It Outside. She's local resident here, and she created 2 episodes for us as well, and those air on Discovery Channel, Discovery Go, Waypoint TV, and then a station that airs in Canada, Wild TV. And she won a Telly Award for that production. And then last is Outdoor Eats, a Heliconia production. It just got exciting news that it got picked up for national distribution on PBS next year. And to date, the episode has aired 65 times, reaching almost 3 million people with a media value of $255,000. And with all of these episodes, we are able to get the content and the B-roll to then use it for other needs. And so it's a good way to really tell our story in this national audience. Heading out to PR. Our PR team, in conjunction with MMGY, our agency up in New York, was able to garner significant earned media placements with stories in Garden and Gun, Toronto Sun, Southern Living, Scottish Sun, Travel and Leisure, Scottish Herald, and you can see those there. And one thing is bachelorette party trend was recognized St. Pete as a bachelor party destination, and we were able to get featured on The Knot. And then we also received mention on Good Morning America. So here's some of the amazing clips that we got, all highlighting our destination. And this is earned media placements. This is based on relationships that our PR team has, our agency has with these writers to come in and talk about our destination, and we can share. They're interested in learning about us, and we can share all of the amazing things that are going on here in the destination. Next is July 27th was our 727 day, and we celebrated From Visitors with Love. This was a joint with our brand activations team, with our marketing team, to really highlight all of the From Visitors with Love and what visitors mean to our destination. So on 727 Day, we worked with all our partners who put together over 100 deals throughout the county for our residents to take advantage of. We were able to promote it on our social media channels. We've got over almost 200,000 social media accounts reached. We did, on July 27th, we did some activations, so up in Tarpon Springs, down to St. Pete, letting our residents know about tourism and how important it is to our economy and our life, and really celebrated that message in a fun way, and also by giving back to our residents through deals from our tourism businesses. We also attended the Rays versus Reds game that day, and gave away over 1,600 tickets through earlier activations for people to come out there. And we were excited that game was very popular. We had over 23,000 attendees at the game, second highest attendance this season behind the home opener. So really promoted that game and got behind that. And then got significant media coverage, almost 19 million impressions in local earned media coverage. We were really excited this year. We launched our Funshine Savings Passport. We launched it around Labor Day. It's built on the same platform as our Gulf Coast Passport. So we encourage, we have over 58 discounts currently available, and it's an initiative that we are using to encourage people, visitors, when they may have just booked their trip, to go on and download it and really see all of the things in the destination that they can participate, and hopefully maybe they'll stay a little bit longer, or they'll see all these things and say, I need to come back. So it's to date, we launched it Labor Day. Unfortunately, we had a little storms come in the way, so we look to really focus more on this in the new year. But to date, we're excited. We've had over 1,600 passes have been requested, and 40% of those are from out of state. And people are starting to redeem them once they're here in destination. And then in mid-July, we launched our Fall Colors advertising campaign. This was in our key drive and fly markets, including New York City. So we went back into New York City in a really big way with trains, subway, billboards, television, radio, and digital advertising. And the Fall Colors was really to influence fall and winter visitation, contrast St. Pete Clearwater to the more typical fall destinations, let people know that we have warm weather and incredible colors here in our destination too. And so we were able to launch that July. We did have to cut it short at the end of September, but hopefully people remember that from the summer and are still thinking about coming visiting in the new year. Lastly, we did a really big push in the greater Tampa Bay area this year. We know that the Tampa Bay market has grown significantly over the last several years. So we wanted to reach not just those in Hillsborough County, but those all the way up to Citrus and over into Sebring, and send them a message about make your beach bag an overnight bag, and really hitting on the message of come here and spend the night. Make it a long weekend. Make this your getaway. And so all of the creative dedicated towards that, highlighting things that you can do in the evenings, or stay for sunset and enjoy breakfast in the morning. And so really hitting on that overnight stay messaging to this audience. So we had a dedicated creative and landing page, beachesoftampabay.com, and advertised that messaging across television, radio, gas station, and digital billboards, and also a partnership in Tampa Premium Outlets that we've continued through the holidays. And so we have messaging there that's specific to the holidays and our Still Shining message. There's an example of one of the billboards and then the landing page that we have built. And Still Shining. So we are ending the year with our Still Shining message, and we launched this in October following the storms. Can you continue to keep St. Pete Clearwater in the news, but in a positive way, highlighting our businesses that are back open. You can see there's an example of our billboards. So we had over 20 billboards highlighting businesses that are still shining in the destination and really highlighting our partners. Our social team has done an amazing job creating video content on our social channels, featuring our local businesses and their stories. And it's been developed as a community-wide message. So Creative Pinellas has, as part, used the Still Shining message, and they used it in their event they had last month, which helped hurricane relief. And so it's been a great message, and we look forward. We have some national television spots later this month with the ReliaQuest Bowl and Gasparilla Bowl, and we will be sharing our Still Shining commercial spot in those national broadcasts, just getting people realizing that our destination is ready to welcome you, and we are still shining and the sun is out. And just end on a couple of awards. So we're we enjoy what we do, but it's always nice to be recognized from these award entities. So the Flagler Awards is a Visit Florida that they do every year at their governor's conference. We're excited our influencer marketing campaign got a bronze, and our Gulf to Bay Destination magazine got a silver. And then HSMI Hotel Sales and Marketing Association International, they have an Adrian Awards. They will be celebrating those in January in New York City, and we got 4 recognitions there. Our media event for Shuffleboard, our Gulf to Bay magazine, our From Visitors with Love 727-day campaign, and our search marketing and strategy. And anyone has any questions? But yeah, I'm really excited about our year, and we've got some exciting stuff planned for next year. I know Steve's going to give a little tease into that, yeah, really excited for 2024 and appreciate
So any questions? Great job, and it's awesome. And some of those things gave me goosebumps, so I think you did a really amazing job, especially when we had to pivot. Any questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that great report. It's amazing all of the things that we do that most people don't even realize we do. On the solar eclipse, 104 million impressions. That wasn't just for Visit St. Pete Clearwater. That was for I'm assuming, the entire event. Or can you break that number down a little bit? It seems like just this massive number that if we got 104 million impressions, that would be great.
Yes, it was for that event that then we were participating in. Yes. Okay,
got it. Is there any way of kind of knowing how many followed through to maybe click on a link for Visit St. Pete Clearwater in those numbers at all, or?
We could look into that.
Okay, I'm just curious. I mean, if it's too much work, it's too much work. I'm just trying to understand if there's 104 million impressions there. How many followed through to direct exposure to us on that?
Yeah, it would be hard to tell from the media as they're promoting the event and the activities that are going there, how many went to St. Pete Clearwater. Really, we look at the eyeballs at the event, and so the people that were at the event and saw our message there and maybe interacted with us or just saw that we were there and it became, aware to them. Okay.
On the Funshine Saving Passport, so it's a web-based app. Where do people get that from?
So Funshine Savings passport.com. You can go in and it's actually not a download. You order it and then you put in and then it comes and then you get an email and then you save it to your phone. So it's like an app on your phone that you can create and then you take it to businesses and they redeem it.
Okay. To me, that seems to me that would be a very effective strategy. How are we marketing that? I mean, if I'm just playing on my phone, how does that get into my feed or my inbox? Or, you know, how are we actually promoting and marketing that? To me, that seems like that would be a real great promotional strategy for us.
Yep. So we promote it on our website. So for people that are interested, if they sign up for email or magazine, then that's part of their message. Hey, you're planning a trip. You know, take advantage of our Fun Savings Passport. We are promoting it at the airport. So when people are, we have some messaging at Tampa Airport and St. Pete Clearwater Airport. We have partnerships with the with the chambers, and so asking them to communicate that message. One element that we put together was working with all of the front desk staff at the hotels. So as people are in the destination, it's something for the front desk agents or the concierges to promote. So we created little stand-up cards that they could put at the front desk for people to they scan a QR code and it shows up on their phone.
Okay, great. On February 1st, PSTA is launching a new service from Pi to Clearwater Beach. So we'll have a captive audience in those vehicles. So that would be, I'm thinking, a good place to advertise this or whatever else we may want to advertise in front of them, because we're going to have them there for probably half an hour anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you.
Dylan.
Hi, Katie. Great presentation. One thing I was excited about going through your presentation was this custom content episodes. That's somewhat new to VSPC.
We've done the Heliconia production a couple different times, but we're really trying to find some different shows that really share a message in a meaningful way. So it is something we are trying to focus a little bit more on. It's hasn't been as concentrated in the past.
Yeah, it's definitely novel media, and people who follow it are obsessed. So there's a lot of them out there, and there's some quality and not so quality ones. And working in that field, I'm familiar with some locals that would be good for that too. So I would love to work with you guys on this.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Chuck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Katie, you and your team and Steve, you work so hard at efficiently and effectively spending those advertising dollars that are in your budget every year. And so this just highlights it. So thank you in so many ways. One that is near and dear to my heart is the earned media, because as much as you have when you go out and reach these folks and they run a story in their Sunday newspaper, as you said, we got $66 million in earned media. We didn't write a check. That was just you making connections. So can you talk a little bit more about how you make contact with these journalists, how you host them? Because it's, there was 700 stories that you got carried that you didn't have to pay for.
Yeah. Well, so Jason Latimer isn't not here today because he is up in Toronto meeting with media. There was an event that we did. It was partnership with Visit Florida, and they were hosting a media event at the Winter Distillery, which is a really popular spot in Toronto. So he was meeting with them yesterday and sharing with them our message. So it's taking advantage of those events, and like I said, that was one that Visit Florida put on. Sorry. And then just continuing to work with MMGY and share our message and pitching stories and having that relationship is crucial. You're right.
Next question is on Orlando was our key market for a long time, and now as we're watching the numbers, we're seeing the greater Tampa Bay area taking over, in particular Manatee and Sarasota County. That was a great pitch that you had. Instead of your beach bag, make it your overnight bag. So tell me what's going to happen in 2025 from a marketing standpoint, a sneak peek just for the Tampa Bay, greater Tampa Bay market. What do you foresee advertising?
Yeah, we're going to continue with that message. Highlighting for right now, we are not completely focused on Tampa for spring. We are focused on our key out-of-state markets. So But yeah, when summer goes around, that will definitely be very strong for us in continuing that message in the greater Tampa Bay area with some of the similar, advertising and messaging elements. Really, those key partnerships that we have.
Thank you. And lastly, 727 was so much fun and creative, so thanks for putting that together and coming up with it. Are we going to do it again? Is that going to be a new annual day tradition?
Yes. Unfortunately, 727 does not fall on a Saturday this year, which was, very fortunate. But yes, we will continue to do that.
Great. Thank you. Great year, great success this year to you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe Dylan has another question for you.
Yeah, Chuck just stole it about 727. I'm glad to hear it's going to be an annual thing. That was very cool.
Okay, any other questions? All right, then we'll move on to sports.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Good morning. Happy to bring you guys a recap of our fiscal year 24 to kind of start out. I just want to shout out to my team. The sports department is comprised of 4 people. I've got 3 really bright and smart women that work with me, Julie Bolva, Mariah Kaler, and Katie Brunk. So just shout out to them for all the hard work that they do. So last year, we supported 132 events across 24 different sports. To highlight a few of those, the World Shuffleboard Challenge, which brought in people from Austria, Brazil, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, and the UK. We collaborated with some business owners in downtown St. Pete to host the Criterium Championship Tour, which is short course bike racing in downtown St. Pete. We hosted the J70 World Sailing Championships, which is an international sailing championship down there in St. Petersburg. We hosted the AVP East Coast Championship at Sheridan Sand Key Resort, which brings in volleyball teams from across the country. We host 2 Division I softball tournaments every year in Clearwater to kick off the softball Division I season. The first of which is the NFCA Leadoff Classic, which has games broadcast on MLB TV. The second of which is the Shriner Children's Clearwater Invitational, which has games broadcast all across the ESPN platform. We hosted the Gasparilla Gymnastic Classic, which brings in approximately 16,000 people each year. That one is hosted at Tropicana Field. We brought in the Aramco Series Women's Live Golf Tour to the Feathersound Country Club. We hosted 3 collegiate championships, the Sun Conference Championship, which is an NAIA softball championship, the FCSAA Division I Championship, which is a JUCO championship here in Florida, and then the AAC Baseball Championship, which takes place in Clearwater and is the AAC Baseball Conference. We hosted 2 Amateur World Series, the GSA World Series and the NSA World Series. And then finally, we secured and hosted the Royal Rumble in Tropicana Field, which set a attendance record for Tropicana. So at a high level, those are the accomplishments of sports for last fiscal year. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions?
And Madam Chair, I do just want to, reemphasize that Royal Rumble was a big deal for us. I think we all saw the impact that had. And more importantly, it showed that St. Pete Clearwater is a destination that can pull off massive worldwide events like that. And I remember when I came on board last year, Caleb, first day in there, he said, "Hey, I got to talk to you about this thing we're working on." And so Caleb led the charge on that before I got here. And I know so much work went into that. And those events don't just show up one day. There's a lot that goes into that. And I just really want to thank Caleb for his efforts on that and recognize him for pulling off such an amazing event down there.
Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. How many sporting events are we anticipating for 25?
I believe we're going to end up somewhere around the 125, 130 mark again. So we're going to lose a few because Tropicana Field is out of commission, so we lost a few there. But we'll come in roughly around the same spot.
Right, and that just highlights the importance of the decision we made last night. So.
Yep. Yeah. And some of the larger events that we host are at the stadium. So.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mayor Rector.
Yeah, I met with the beach volleyball folks, and I think there's an opportunity for us with youth and amateur beach volleyball, particularly to lean into that. They were having a lot in Siesta Key and beaches south of us, and it does a couple things. I mean, I went to Sheraton Sand Key for one a couple months ago. It was pretty small, but by their standards, but it had families back on the beach, posting pictures of playing on the beach, and and that kind of thing is kind of invaluable for us to have people here experiencing the same thing that they had before. But I think there's an opportunity to lean into that, maybe fill some of the gaps on the others right now, because they're not able to play at some of the other beaches where they've historically played. It's great for us to lean into that at this time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think there's different levels to it as well, whether that's at the highest level where you're talking about Olympic volleyball players coming in, or on the amateur level where it's more about sheer volume. So I agree with you.
Some of their adult tournaments bring in quite a bit too, but they have a wide range. So.
Yep.
Any other, oh, Russ.
I'd like to make a couple of comments, and that is this effort that you do is so important to our mission in tourism here at this meeting, in that it covers putting room nights everywhere, every economic level of hotels, on 19, Feather Sound, on the beach, north and south. And that's a big number of room nights. And I think that we need to make sure that we get that out to some of those areas. And it's off-season, on-season. It's times we need it. We have a volleyball tournament now that goes on. I think it was the East Coast this year, but it's Thanksgiving weekend. Thanksgiving weekend, we need business to fill in that time. And then they eat dinner in the dining room that night. And you see, there was another group we just had. I can't remember what it was, but you can see them, the whole team, heading out somewhere to go have dinner, lunch, outside the hotels. So it helps fill that economic level to places along the beaches that need it right now in the off-season. This is so important. And I think also, if we can somehow, maybe a goal next year is to, how do we, and ask the mayors to help us, how do we go and work stronger and wiser with the cities that we have up and down the county that provide that facility in some type of a cost to them and everything and all that. I think that we need to have more knowledge on that and where we can go on that. I know there's been studies done in the past. I know there's been funds granted and everything, but I think that's so important. I'd like to know, for example, I think, what's his name, came in about one of the baseball fields down in St. Pete, and whether that's being used or not. How did that develop? Where do we go from there with that recommendation or that ask? This is such a cross-board for tourism that's one of the best of all. Meetings are great, but this is really where it is too. So I thank you and your team of 4, all you do, and ask that would challenge us more for next year. Merry
And it starts with our facility partners in the communities. None of this happens unless they're on board and behind it. They're the primary operators of all the venues that we use. So we really have to align ourselves with the different communities and be in lockstep with what they want to see. So it's articulating the benefits when you host these tourism events, what that brings to the communities in terms of dollars going into those businesses, and just, constantly having that open line of communication so that we're on the same page. So there's some things that we're excited about into the future. We have the development there in Pinellas Park, where that's going to be kind of a game changer for us. And then I believe you're talking about Baseball City, which I think there's a lot of opportunities down there as well. So.
Okay, any other questions? All right.
And I would just add before he leaves, something that some of you are familiar with, others newer, not so much, but the Toy Town youth sports development. We did receive funding for that from the legislature. Excuse me. And we have put that out for RFP. And it's a 2-step process. Really, we want to see who's out there in that world, who's developed these youth tournament sports facilities throughout the country. What does that look like? How much is it going to cost? And what we can really do out there. So that is out on the streets until, I believe, mid-January, and then we'll look through those. But I think between Trinity, a new sports development, Pasco County's gone all in on tournament sports. Hillsborough continues to expand with tournament sports facilities. And when you talk to any of them, the demand far exceeds the supply. And, you know, in Pasco, we're talking to Adam at the Sports Coast, and people who are staying in, you know, a tournament's not just in Pasco County. The tournament's at Pasco County, Lakeland, Tampa, Orlando, all over the place, simply because there's not enough fields. So we've got a lot that we're working on, and Caleb's leading those efforts for us, and I know he's excited.
Dylan.
Being one of the newer people, what's Toy Town? Is that the Pinellas Park one that you were referencing? No?
So Toy Town is the
Old dump.
official or unofficial name of the old landfill that's just to the east of I-275. We wanted to put it out there to see, you know, we don't have a lot of vacant land, especially that size, in Pinellas County. So we wanted to see the potential that it has out there and what that may look like in cost. So we worked with a consultant who does this sort of thing throughout the country, and we specifically want to see a number of other sports developments have been constructed on former landfills throughout the country. So we want to see what that looks like here in Pinellas County.
Just to add on to that, the total size of the landfill is about 235 acres. The part that we're looking at developing is the southern portion, which is about 84 acres worth of land.
Because it's a landfill, we can't do a lot of things on it, so sports is perfect. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Good morning, everyone. Andrea Gable, Latin America Senior Sales Manager, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning with you and share some of our biggest highlights in fiscal year 24. First, let's start with trainings and outreach. We conducted 35 trainings. The majority of those trainings were in person in our crucial markets, Brazil and Mexico. We did projected to some trainings, webinars outside those two crucial markets. And the focus of the trainings was to provide support to the tour operators, the OTAs, online travel agents that are promoting our destination, creating packages for our destination so we can train the sales calls of those tour operators. We also focus on the travel agents, the final stop to promoting those tour operator package to the final consumer or potential travelers. Next, we welcome 22 familiarization groups. Then we focus on the familiarization and the trade visit. We focus on making sure that we brought to our destination from a crucial market, Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia, the tour operators, the OTAs, the airline representative, and the travel advisors that are currently promoting the destination or looking forward to promote our destination. The importance of having those clients in our destination and to really see and feel and be able to experience all the offerings St. Pete Clearwater has to offer and take it back to the potential travelers. Next, we did collaborate in 16 core programs. The majority of those programs were in collaboration with our biggest partners, Visit Florida and Brand USA. The core programs generated 6,349 direct room nights. But the very important piece about those programs that we were able to develop during the fiscal year 24 in our crucial markets, Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia, it's the biggest brand awareness that we can support and provide for the ones creating and promoting destination. The brand awareness where the tour operator, the OTA, and the travel devices can utilize to continue to promote our region. Next, I would like to share with you one of our biggest sales projects of the year, the Aeromexico Sales Mission. The mission was created to support our new daily direct Aeromexico flight from Mexico City to Tampa that started on July 1st. The mission, it was a collaboration with Visa Tampa Bay, Tampa International Airport, and Aeromexico executives. In 1 week, in June 2024, during the missions, we were able to provide very many training sessions where we trained the Aeromexico vacations. We also met with our biggest Aeromexico tour operators and OTAs and travel advisors that buy directly from Aeromexico packages. We also had the opportunity during the mission to provide some training sessions to the tour operators, OTAs, sales calls, and the new travel advisors. We look forward to maintaining this relationship in this current fiscal year and continue to promote the Aeromexico direct flight. Finally, we created a 2024 digital brochure in Portuguese and Spanish. I distributed this morning with you a copy of the brochure, and the brochure was designed to focus on B2B and B2C. The B2B piece, it's a support for the tour operators and wholesalers that are creating and promoting our destination, that we can provide this digital brochure to the sales call team. We also focus on the travel advisors, and the B2C piece is for any travel agents inside our crucial markets, Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia, that they can have the print version of the brochure available inside the travel agents for any future travelers looking for the next opportunity of ideas of vacation. In conclusion, it was a very successful year for the Latin America department, and I'm sharing with you today some wonderful pictures of our formalization groups that visit our region. And at the same time, I wanted to take a second to mention that we continue throughout the fiscal year to maintain our presence in the most important trade shows, sales missions, and tour operator workshop events throughout our crucial markets, Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil. We made new relationships and we maintain existing relationships, and we look forward to continue the relationships and the sales initiatives in this current fiscal year. Thank you for this opportunity. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions? I think you got by without any.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you for everything you do.
Good morning. Happy holidays. I'm Rosemary Payne. I'm the Director of Leisure Travel, and I'm going to give you a brief overview or recap of our fiscal year 24. We had a very successful year in leisure travel. What we saw in 24 was that the industry is rebounding and competition for leisure travelers is coming back. So our focus last year and part of our strategic plan for fiscal year 25 is to maximize the relationships we have with travel advisors and tour operators across the USA and Canada. We planned and executed 39 sales opportunities in 19 states and 5 provinces in Canada. We were pleased to have Pinellas County travel industry partners join us for 20 of those initiatives. We met with consumers and travel trade throughout the year and had 5,862 direct travel trade tour operator engagements last year. Leisure Travel also hosted educational FAM visits from the USA, the UK, Switzerland, Canada, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Germany. We had a very busy FAM season. In total, we had 36 partners experience our destination firsthand. And our UK FAM even walked with the Visit St. Pete Clearwater contingent in the Pride Parade in downtown St. Pete. Through our partnership with Brand USA, the Leisure Travel Department also facilitated 6 marketing campaigns in Canada. These campaigns resulted in 10,312 direct room nights. We also participated in trade shows, sales missions, and webinars across the entire part of Canada from Halifax to Vancouver. Key initiatives this last year were Florida Huddle, which was in Miami Beach, IPW, Katie mentioned that, which was in Los Angeles. It's going to be in Chicago this year, and Apple Leisure Group's Ascend Conference. New initiatives this year included a sales mission with Visit Florida to Los Angeles that was in conjunction with IPW. For the first year, St. Pete Clearwater was invited to attend the Travel Leaders Edge Conference in Washington, D.C. Travel Leaders is one of the largest travel advisor networks in the United States. They welcomed 1,700 travel professionals, suppliers, and staff, and all in one location. They've also asked us to come back next year, so we're excited about that. We also attended World Travel Market in London with former Commissioner Janet Long. And together with our Public Relations Department, we brought back our annual Beaches and Baseball event, Trade and Media in Toronto with the Toronto Blue Jays. Each year, we look forward to opportunities with Visit Florida. They're a great partner of ours. In fiscal year, we not only did the sales mission to Los Angeles, but we also went with them to Chicago and New York. And we participate quite often with Visit Florida's office in Canada, which is Vox International's, their representation company, on different shows and webinars throughout the year. That's a quick overview of fiscal year 24. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. All right, meetings and conferences.
Good morning. My name is Hortensia Simmons, Senior Sales Manager with the Meetings and Conventions team. We have 8 team members on our team, which includes our assistant Christine, our DC rep Liz Dane, and then our 7 sales managers, which also includes Renee Preem, which is our Convention Services Manager, who services all of our groups. The meetings team hosted 350 meetings in a destination, which resulted in over $84 million in economic impact. We also attended 19 sales opportunities, which included trade shows and events. We actually attend 4 major trade shows in the industry: ASAE, which is the American Society of Association Executives, IMAX America, Holiday Showcase, and RCMA, which is the largest religious conference management association conference. The meetings team is continuing to partner with our hotel partners. We actually hosted 4 major events this year. They were sporting events, and they were at the Philadelphia Phillies baseball game, Philadelphia Union soccer game, Minnesota Twins baseball game, and we also did the New York City Wine and Food Festival for the first time. We're working closely with our partners. We hosted quite a few fam tours this year, site inspections, and one thing that sets us apart from other destinations is our complimentary services and our incentive program. When we're going in for meeting with clients with business and we're competing with Orlando, Tampa, Miami, our incentive program kind of helps us secure that piece of business. Overall, we had a great year. We're looking forward to an even better year in 2025. And these are some of the pictures from our events that we hosted this year.
Anyone have any questions? It looks like fun. It does look like fun.
A couple of comments, if I could.
Yeah, Russ.
In this area here, it's the rock right now for hotels, the larger tax collectors. The groups are showing up, and their participants are there online, or are there, and everything. The leisure market has got to come back because of the storms and everything, and we have to come back and with our infrastructure over a period of time to get that also. And so this side is so important, and I hope that we're looking at more efforts in 25 than we have ever had for all sizes of hotels, and whether it's on the beach or on the mainland or St. Pete or whatever it is. And they're out there looking for places to come. They're still going to come here. They trust us that we're opening enough that we can do the business with them. But I think this is the backbone for next year, I feel. And so I hope that, Hortensia, we're looking at new things and for participants of hotels and bringing on that can do it. St. Pete, downtown St. Pete, is becoming a major tax collector. there are a lot of small hotels, but they do have some meeting rooms. And I think that that's a pocket maybe that we need to be addressing more if we can along the way. And then up county, there's a couple of spots, there's more hotels than there have been before. They got small meeting rooms that we need to look at. But this is the area that I know we as a hotel are working hard at, and it's booking, but we need all those efforts we can do for 25, I believe, on it. So that's where my 2 cents is for next year, but I ask that we step it up more, what efforts we can do in that area. Thank you.
Any other questions, Dylan?
So you mentioned these trade shows that you guys are doing with all these attendees. These are big trade shows where we're just advertising the destination to other meeting planners, essentially?
Yes, we actually have a booth at the trade shows, so we have hotel partners that are in the booth with us.
Oh, cool. All right. Thank you.
If I can just add, Dylan, to that, these trade shows that are annually and everything, it's most of those are appointment driven, so that they provide the booth, the backspace, the general information and everything to get the people there. The trade goes also, and they have appointments every 20 minutes or whatever it is in order to sell their facility or sell the whole county. So that it's no more than just pass out brochures and everything. It's appointments.
Oh, Brian?
No, I would just note to Mr. Kimball's point, down in St. Pete, there's a ton of new product that they've got those smaller meeting spaces. And then on Clearwater Beach, beginning in February, is the grand opening of the new Opal Soul. And that's going to open up the opportunity for us to host meetings and groups that we've never had before. And between the two properties with the pedestrian overpass over Gulf, I believe it's called Gulf View there, you know, we're going to be able, we're already seeing it, that groups that have not been able to come here in the past will now be able to consider Clearwater Beach as a destination. And I think with that, it's really going to enhance the opportunities that are out there throughout the destination, specifically in Clearwater Beach.
Any additional, Mayor and Rector?
I just couldn't agree more with Russ's comments. I mean, it's meetings and conferences and youth and amateur sports tourism are going to lead us back. It's going to be a while before we get the leisure tourist in the same volume we had them before. It's anecdotal, but I mean, it's been really, really slow this past week. Normally slow this time of year anyway, but it's been really, really slow out on Clearwater Beach. But we've got our resort hotels came through it really well, and they're all back fully operating and almost like they were before. So to the extent we can get those groups back, then I think that experience of the conference goers coming and tournament participants, that will lead us back on the leisure tourism side. But I think that, as Russ said, it's really important that we lean into those two areas as hard as we can right now.
Any other comments? Great job. Continued great work. And we're going to go on to film.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lisa Doswa. I'm the film commissioner. And as you can see, these are our numbers from fiscal year 24. We were up about a little over $1 million from the previous fiscal year. We've had 389 shoot days, 1,874 local hires, 4,224 room nights, and just over $8 million spent. And I wanted to remind everybody, I think we all know that film is the Film Commission, but we do more than work on film projects. As you can see, the breakdown for my fiscal year in terms of project types are 3 corporate videos, some digital video products, we've got 8 documentaries, 9 feature films, 6 different TV shows, and reality TV is big in our area too. We had 14 projects of that type. still photo shoots because our backdrops are so beautiful. We had 24 still photo shoots that were permitted, and commercials. Commercials came in at our highest type of project at 55 permitted commercial shoots. So these are just a snapshot of some of the big brands that you might recognize that have come to our area to do their work. If you happen to have been at a Bucks game, a home Bucks game, you might have seen the Bucks promotion that shot on Pier 60. It also filmed in Tarpon Springs and all along downtown St. Pete in the waterfront area. Baycare was here doing a commercial for their hospitals and services. Dick's Sporting Goods, they come here year after year. They love it here. They just actually wrapped up a campaign shoot in downtown St. Pete last week. The director liked it so much here that he actually has moved to our area so he can just come all the time and film. We have a show on Netflix called Love on the Spectrum. That filmed here earlier in the summer, and that should be airing on Netflix in Q1 25. And of course, a lot of the films that are participating in our incentive program are ending up on Lifetime channel. And we also had a big moneymaker for us, or a big economic impact on the destination, was the Purina Incredible Dog Challenge that filmed at Coachman Park earlier this year in April, and we're going to work hard to get them back here. And of course, we've talked a lot about this already, but my proudest moment from fiscal 24 is bringing HGTV's hits competition series, Rock the Block, to the destination. Rock the Block filmed their entire season 5 in Treasure Island. That was 7 different episodes. They did a phenomenal job showing off the destination, not just in Treasure Island, but they also filmed at the St. Pete Pier and over at the beach. They covered the standing ovations, sand sculpting competition, and they were just great to work with. They had the economic impact from that show alone was almost $1.4 million. They booked 1,320 room nights. They hired 127 locals, and they actually shot for almost 2 months. But prior to the production of the project, they were in the area probably close to 3 months, just doing all the permitting and working with the city and the fire department and the police department and the Parks Department, just to get everything locked down. And it was an amazing collaboration between the city and the county. The county had to go out and expedite permits to install the docks that they needed in the backyards or the backwater. And the Film Commission too, it was great. I mean, that is how the Film Commission is so successful, because we've built these great relationships with all of our community partners, and we can just work together to bring these projects here, and without their support, it would be a lot more difficult than it is. So we're happy about that. And when we're not busy working with projects and permitting them, we do other things. And in my department, it's just two of us, myself and my Film Commission manager, Quinn Chittenden. He's an awesome guy, and he's just takes initiative, and he's out there on set more, getting behind-the-scenes photographs for us to use in our marketing efforts. These are a couple behind-the-scenes that we actually have received as deliverables from the projects that we give incentive funding to. Some of the deliverables are to give us behind-the-scenes still photos and production stills that we can use in our marketing. We also have them give to us testimonial videos where they're above the line, so that's your directors and producers, the director of photography, the writers, and the talent. They get on screen and they talk about how much they enjoyed filming in our destination, or some things that they didn't expect about our destination, and they cut it in with B-roll, and it's just a really great marketing tool that we have available now, and which is really helpful for us. Also, another highlight from 2024, fiscal 24, was my attending the Association of Film Commissioners International conference in Los Angeles. It was more of a learning experience and a networking opportunity. While I was there, I met with film commissioners from not only just the United States, like Cherokee Nation and New Mexico, Massachusetts, and Hawaii, Georgia, but also I met people from all over the world, Finland and Saudi Arabia, and it was just a great opportunity. We talked a lot about other departments, other areas, film incentive programs and challenges that the industry is facing and newer trends. So I really was fortunate to be able to attend that. I also went to the Focus Content Creation Show in London, and that was special to me because that was my first international trip and made a lot of great connections there. And I worked also with other film commissions from Florida. There was Film Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and the Florida Keys were also there. So they're great mentors for me too. So I appreciate that. And in the other corner there is the award ceremony from the Sunscreen Film Festival. So our film commission also partners with several local film festivals coming up, and we're going into our film festival season now. So this was Sunscreen, that kind of ends the year, but starting when we get back from holiday in January, we'll be working with the Dunedin International Film Festival, the Sunshine City Film Festival down in St. Petersburg, and then we've got the Black Arts and Film Festival in February. We partner with Gasparilla over in Tampa in March, and then of course Sunscreen Film Festival will be its 20th year this year, and that's the end of April 24th through the 28th. So we stay very, very busy and really proud of the work that we've done, and that's my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Chuck?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How much did we pay out in incentive money this last fiscal year? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, this last fiscal year we paid out just under $1 million to 11 different projects.
So $1 million, and we got a local spend of $8 million. That sounds like a pretty good return on investment to me. We've talked about this in the past, in your budget, you spent $1 million. Was it enough? Did you spend your budget? Do you need more? You can always use more. That's a kind of silly question. But tell me your opinion on where we need to go with incentive.
Yeah, I think I did have $1.7 million in my budget, so I did not spend it all last year, but I had it all allocated. So there are things that are just beyond the Film Commission's control. For example, one of the projects that I had allocated funding to, their key talent dropped out, so they were scrambling to try to find someone to replace, and that just didn't happen. Another project, just their timeline, delays. Some other projects couldn't raise the funding that they needed, so, I don't know that those are dead projects. I'm going to try to reactivate them again, and just see if we can bring them back to the area. So I think we're at a sweet spot right now with what we've got.
Thank you very much. 144 permitted projects. Very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a lot of work. And it's funny because, what you're going to see on Netflix or what you saw on HGTV or any of these shows, they're just half-hour episodes, but the amount of work that it goes into shutting down a road or, whatever the millions of crazy requests that we get, that it's just so time-consuming and it takes a lot of staff time. So thank you.
Commissioner Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Chuck's comments that $8 million in local spend for $1 million is a pretty good return on investment. Does that local spend include the room nights?
Yes.
Okay, it does. Can you talk a little bit about what you're working on in 25?
I'm working on keeping the momentum going.
How many projects do you think we'll end up with in 25? Just kind of where do you see us in?
Oh, I see us at least equal to where we are now, hopefully going a little bit higher, or getting some bigger budget projects so we don't have to get as many. But we do stay really busy with just the two of us, so it'd be great to have a third person, but our budget cycle is starting, so maybe that's something that we could request. Yeah.
Remind me again, the budget for 25 for spend on films? You had 1.7 for 24. What do you have for 25?
Yes, it's the same, 1.7 for this fiscal '25.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And just as a reminder, Lisa did not mention, but she worked and we rolled out the new film incentive program. So the new film incentive program will offer even more incentive to films to shoot here. And we changed some of the guidelines there to really make sure that those projects are focused on, showing off the destination. We know so much of the impact that we have from these films and these projects that film here are showcasing the destination. And you're not going to see the number of room nights that eventually may come to the destination down the road. But we know, a Winter the Dolphin type movie that really you can't watch that and not know it wasn't in Clearwater at CMA, right? Those are the sorts of things that we want to go after. So I think the new film incentive program does that, and Lisa's going to be busy rolling that out.
Absolutely, yes, I did fail to mention that, but I spoke at length in September to all of you about that, so hopefully you remember. And if not, all of the information is live on our website now, so you can go there and read it at your leisure.
And Dylan, I don't think was here at the time, so we may have to bring him up to speed. The Sunscreen Film Festival is really great. I enjoyed it last year. I'd love to go to the other ones, keeping on the loop. But I think this is one area where we can really grow. I think this is an opportunity to really expand and grow. I would really love to see. I know you got the new incentive program. I hope it's successful, but I really think there's room to grow in this particular area. And maybe in the future that'll,
that would be
play out.
That's great.
Dylan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And great presentation. One question I had is, in your presentation, you discussed meeting other film commissioners from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, and more exclusively even here in Florida, like the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Key West. In your opinion, how do we stack up in Pinellas versus some of those other destinations? Maybe not comparing to Miami, because that's a little different, but like a Key West. Are we smaller in number, equatable in projects?
Yeah, I don't have data specifically from Key West, but I know, well, I'd be happy to meet with you and just bring you up to speed on everything, but the state of Florida as a whole is one of 13 states that do not offer any type of funding for film projects. So right there, we're at a bit of a disadvantage competition-wise. So Pinellas County is one of 6 areas in Florida that have put together a local incentive program. So we, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Palm Beach County, Hillsborough County, and us have put together some funding to try to attract projects. We're comparable to Hillsborough County. Jacksonville's a little less, but Miami got their $10 million budget, yes, and Fort Lauderdale, I'd have to get back to you on what their amount is. And another area that is probably going to be unveiling a new program is Orange County, and they're looking at $20 million over 5 years. So starting out with an initial $2 million on the first year, and then $4 million each of the next 4 years. I think I did the math wrong there, but yes, so that is, they're doing a lot of workshops right now and a lot of research, and if it's going to come to a vote around springtime 2025, so that might be another area within Florida that we'll have competing with.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't expect specifics or anything, so you gave me more information than I was expecting, but I just wanted to get an idea of where we stacked up, so that's interesting. Thank you.
Let's go out on a boat anytime, and I'll tell you all about it. All right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I would just note on that last comment in relation to other destinations, it's important to note that we're very unique in that we're one of the only destinations that use tourist development tax dollars for film incentive programs and is housed in the CVB. Most other counties, that is not the case, and it comes from general fund or a different funding source than tourist development tax dollars. So we're unique in that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll turn this over now to activations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Merry Christmas. Craig Campbell, Director of Community and Brand Engagement. Thanks so much for having us. Keeping the good vibes going here from a brand activation standpoint. Had just a tremendous year. As you can see here, just a high-level recap, 82 events executed. So that's a mixture of local events, such as elite events or other things that we've supported throughout the year, other departments that we've provided assets to or some sort of resource, and 8 out-of-market events. You can see in the photos there just sort of some of the assets that we deploy for our local activations. Top left there is our is a branded trolley that we had for St. Pete Pride this past year, had over 50 walkers that were participating with us. Top right is our Adirondack chair, who doesn't love an oversized chair, has a lot of high visibility there. Middle right there's, of course, our boat, and we deployed that at various parades throughout the year. It's a great asset, great billboard for VSPC. Our welcome truss, bottom left, is probably our most requested item from all of the event partners that we work with. We have it on the books for 17 events here coming up this fiscal year. And then bottom right is a new asset that we unveiled earlier this year. It's our From Visitors with Love concert stage. I'll touch on that here momentarily. But over 900,000 consumers we engaged with across the 82 events that we executed, whether we handed out some collateral, talked to them, provided a tchotchke item, had some sort of engagement with them. We touched over 900,000 consumers, and that led to over 10,000 folks that signed up for a Register to Win, entered our database that can be used for marketing purposes moving forward. Kind of middle left, you might see an image there. It's our team holding a surfboard. So we partnered with Clearwater Jazz Holiday last year and the Beach Boys to give away an autographed surfboard. So, that's an idea, a concept we came up with in collaboration with the organizer, and just fun promotions that we can get to really beef up our database entries there, just an example. An emphasis that we've had for the past several years is integrating local partners, inviting our partners into our space with us so they can, communicate and talk with these 900,000 plus consumers that we're engaging with. So we did have 11 partners join us across 19 different events. That's an uptick from 8 partners last year to 11. Some examples being like the Dali Museum joining us at Localtopia, or Clearwater Marine Aquarium joining us at a variety of events. Clearwater International Airport as well. They come out and really bring a great presence for us. So it's great to have those partners engaged. And then, like I said, the new asset. So the image you see bottom right corner is our From Visitors with Love concert stage. Shout out to team member Jake Herman. There's a ton of logistics and things that just go into securing an asset like a concert stage. So thank you, Jake, for all the work there and bringing that vision to life. But we decided to make this an extension of the From Visitors with Love campaign because we're working with the organizers to program local artists to go on that stage. So what cooler story is there? Here's a tourism asset provided to a local event that's featuring local artists. So literally providing a platform and a spotlight for local artists with this asset. We have deployed it. So that was John's Pass Seafood Festival. It's been at 3 other events since then, and we've got it lined up for at least 3 and maybe 5 events coming up here in the next fiscal year. So on the out of market, Katie thanks for touching on the Indianapolis footprint, but you can see the different markets where we executed this year. Indianapolis, Miami was a great event. It's kind of top left there out on Miami Beach. We partnered with St. Pete Pride to go execute a footprint at the Miami Beach Pride event. So built a really great sweepstakes, had a ton of entries. St. Pete Pride was down there with us. We also partnered with the LATAM department, so they were able to bring, a ton of Spanish-speaking collateral with them, and we were just had a great time promoting St. Pete Pride and in our destination. Philadelphia, so marketing partnerships with the Philadelphia Union, and then down below the Cincinnati FC, so executing footprints at those events. Toronto, we were up there for the Honda Indy Toronto, which is basically the sister race of the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. The guys who own St. Pete also own the Honda Indy Toronto, so we were able to work out a footprint up there and have a really nice presence up in Toronto. And New York City, bottom left is Jake dressed up as Beach Santa there. He was a good sport about that. And Orlando, being so close to us, we're able to execute there, quite a bit. So some good shots of our out-of-market footprints there. And then two other programs that are within kind of our umbrella, the internship program. So it's something that's grown, and shout out to Brandy Bolden, who's really taken the lead on developing this program for the past 5-6 years. What once was one intern working 15 hours a week unpaid is now, we have 6 interns throughout the year. We have 2 in the fall, 2 in the spring, 2 in the summer. They're 12-week increments, working 20 to 30 hours per week. The bulk of their work will be done with the activations team and the film and sports commissions, but we also, want to ensure that they're exposed to all the other departments so their experience is as robust as possible. The photos there, so we got Sophie and Liam in the chair. They were our springtime interns, and then we have Trey and Dylan top right, so they're at the Besties back in May, and then you guys met Dayton and Nicole, our fall interns last month. So yeah, just a great program, brings a lot of value both to our organization, but these students who just get a ton of great experience. And then the Brand Ambassador Program, shout out to Sierra Arana from our team. She oversees this program. We currently have 64 ambassadors. Essentially, we can't execute 80-plus footprints locally without a really great volunteer pool. So we have 64 volunteers that have worked 712 hours. There's a rate of, or a value to that work, and that's close to $24,000 worth of volunteer work there. But yeah, Sierra's come in here, really been a great shot in the arm for the program, bringing all sorts of great ideas, social media takeovers, hosting appreciation events, you name it. We're exploring some sponsorship opportunities at these universities to really get our name and brand out and bring in more ambassadors. But the program took a hit with COVID when there were no events, and we've been rebuilding it over time, and we're in a really good spot now. We do most of our recruiting at USF St. Petersburg, St. Pete College, Eckerd College, and University of Tampa, but we also have presence at USF in Tampa, and we'll head up to St. Leo as well on occasion. I'll come back to that slide. So community recap, kudos to Oliver Kugler over here, just really out in the community, spreading, that message about the value of tourism. Some new things that were kind of unveiled this year, all new partner workshops and trainings. Kylie put together a brand new transparent chamber funding formula, so that determines how we distribute the $600,000 in chamber funding to the 13 chambers. And yeah, we continue to put the From Visitors with Love campaign out to the local community, both locals, businesses, and of course now recently with the Still Shining message as well. A few things that we're looking ahead to this year, Kylie's working on a college course with St. Pete College, also a sustainable tourism plan developed in coordination with some of our community leaders, and then measurement technology. So how do we justify the funding for the chambers? We're getting into that technology space with new tracking to be installed at all those visitor centers. And then also technology for our elite event funding program. So AI and drone measurement, again, so we can all validate the $3 million in funding that will be available for events next year, and much more beyond that. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. Are there any questions for me?
Dylan.
So the brand ambassadors, are those the people that show up with the iPads? Like in John's Pass, for example, we have people that walk around with VSPC gear and they're asking people questions with those iPads. Are those the brand ambassadors?
It's probably, it could be. Typically, our brand ambassadors are like tethered to our like tent space, like our like footprint itself. But we do deploy, one of our data and research partners is Future Partners, and they go out to select events, and they're more like floaters, and so they'll go throughout the entire event with their iPads collecting data, and it's part of their like economic impact study for that event.
So that's probably an employee, because these are older folks. So when you said you recruit at the colleges, I was like, I don't know if they're the same people.
They're an extension of us. Maybe that's the best way to look at it. Not truly a brand ambassador, like part of our program, but part of one of our vendors who's out there collecting data.
Thank you.
Sure.
Chuck.
Thank you. Do you have trouble, 64 is, do you want more? Do you need more? 64 is the cap. Where's the number come from?
We'll take more. I think, if we can do more with more bodies, that's for sure. So 64 is comfortable. Maybe that's a good way to put it. It's not like we've had to say no to events or executing a footprint from a lack of volunteers. But so I'd say 64 we're comfortable with, but we'd certainly take an uptick there. Would open up some opportunities.
Quite a few of the high schools here in Pinellas County require volunteer hours as a graduation requirement, so that may also be a tap for a source.
Yeah, that's something worth exploring. We do have an age requirement, so like 18. So if they're graduated and 18 and above, then yeah. So typically why we stick to the college age.
Heard. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Well, now we're going to go to destination metrics with Eddie Kirsch.
Yeah, and as he walks up, just Eddie's going to touch on two things during this presentation. One, this is for the first time we have data post-storm for October. And then he's also going to touch on our data that we got from our visitor profile and ad effectiveness study in 2024.
Good morning, and yeah, I hope you guys like data because all those awesome stories. We have some numbers that show stories as well, so we'll hop right into it. Unfortunately, kind of pulling off the Band-Aid here, for the month of October, we did not have, a lot, if any, beach visitation from visitors. So our overall TDT is down 28% year over year. Obviously, that was due to the impact from Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. The most significant impact there, again, is on those beach communities. We did have, a tremendous heights to our inland data, but that doesn't cover the shortfall that we traditionally get from that beach visitation. Diving into this a little bit further, because we will kind of be looking at what's going on from this inland picture versus this beach picture. Overall, this inland occupancy month, comparing October of this year to last year, was up 31% in total occupancy. And, because of those FEMA-funded rooms, that revenue per available room in that inland segment was up nearly 50%, 47.8% compared to 2023. So obviously, we did see that inland demand due to those storms and that displacement. But again, from the beach side of things, we saw decreases in occupancy in our rate in that revenue per available room. On the graph here, you can kind of get a picture of what it usually looks like, this inland versus this beach, in terms of just the revenue comparable. And usually there's a pretty big gap. In this month of 2024, there was a much smaller gap between the two. So that's something that's quite interesting. Looking at the vacation rental side of things, from our sample of key data property management companies, again, we did have that increase in inland occupancy and inland demand. FEMA did not fund vacation rentals, so it did not really make up the same degree, and the outlook kind of looks different. On the right side, you can really see that supply, and the supply that went down on the beach side. It is slowly kind of returning, and I think that there's some positive news as we look into kind of this early November data. And this is kind of this 2-month look at things that we can see. And overall, we are starting to see some demand return. As Russ pointed out, we're seeing group demand really kind of come back and come quite strong. So overall, we in the month of November saw growth from October. And you can kind of see historically those remain much higher than they traditionally are on the kind of occupancy side of things, as those inland units still remained occupied. And on the vacation rental side of things, you saw the demand grow quite a bit more from October to November. Supply also kind of returned, but obviously that's going to take a lot longer than the demand. The demand might return much quicker. Any questions about the recent data that we've seen before jumping into this fiscal year?
Questions? Mayor?
Yeah. Well, I understand our numbers have been really good here recently, but I think it's hard for me to tell how much of that is folks who've been displaced. I know a number of folks who are renting temporarily while they're out of their homes, they can't get back in them. And then we've had a lot of relief workers, contractors eating up a lot of those rooms. So for me, it's really hard to tell how we're doing as far as recovering with leisure tourism when we really don't know what type of guest is occupying these rooms. I mean, it doesn't look like there's been much fall off, at least with the hotel. But my concern is that we may be seeing it now this week, starting as these folks are now going other places. We just need to make sure that the leisure tourism comes back.
I hesitate to draw conclusions around this week or the next with the holidays, and that can sometimes be a pretty volatile moment where you do have pretty big differences. Yeah, and that's really what we're looking at is okay, we're seeing that demand come back. Where is that demand coming from? Is the leisure visitor returning? I don't think we still have a complete picture on how much of that is, but that is the ratio of really what type of traveler is coming back is very important, and something that we're evaluating, as well as at the same time, bringing out our marketing message to make sure that leisure visitor does return. And I know that Steve has quite a bit of information in his marketing update about kind of what we're doing to that end.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, we now have exactly 1 month of data on post-storm recovery. So next month when we're here, we'll have 2 months of data. We simply don't have a ton of data right now. We're drawing conclusions based on some of the estimates that we see, the surveys we get, and then, just walking out there around the destination. And I think that one of the things that we've seen is now for 4 weeks ago, there were no visitors here, right? That was 100% displaced residents, recovery workers. 4 weeks ago, we saw a couple people. Then we saw a couple more, and it's slowly coming back, but we simply don't have that information now.
And, you know, just one other, like, we have a midweek, you know, Christmas this year. We had a midweek 4th of July this year. And, you know, if it's like the 4th of July this year, we had a little bit of a decrease because of that midweek holiday around this time. So I do, you know, just judging off what is going on now might not necessarily tell us what the future is going to look like. So moving on to our fiscal year visitor study, we survey about 4,000 or 5,000 people every year in market. Dylan, I believe that the people you were talking to were probably some of those intercept surveyors that we've hired through future partners to come and conduct surveys, because Johns Pass is one of those places where we do have people collecting that data. So based on that data that we collect, we generate some estimates of our total impact of tourism throughout Pinellas County. We have estimated for the third straight year more than 15.4 million visitors, as well as 6.4 million room nights, along with more direct spending and total economic impact than we had last year. So we had about $11.2 billion of estimated total economic impact, and about $6.8 almost billion of direct visitor spending. That's a modest increase of about 2.4 and 2.9% respectively. And we're pretty much in line, very close to where we have been with those number of visitors and the number of hotel rooms. Not quite to where we were last year. Like I said, we've been in market conducting this survey for about 7 years now. We've generated over 35,000 in-destination intercept surveys. A lot of the metrics that we look at have not substantially changed this year compared to years past. They kind of fall within this range. And those things are primary reason to visit, length of stay, planning window, the percentage of visitors to certain metrics and certain accommodations, in the way that they travel around the destination, how they arrive. A lot of demographic data is also very similar to as it has always been. For the most part, people are kind of planning their vacations in the same way that they usually do. And they look kind of, like the people that usually come here. There are some things that are significantly different and interesting pieces that we wanted to bring up in this presentation. More visitors in our visitor survey this year had a higher household income. They also came more often in different types of travel settings, whether that's as a group of friends or a group of couples or extended family. We also noticed that more of them had recognized our travel ads before coming into market. And we noticed a number of different sort of behaviors. More visitors were spending more, on shopping and entertainment. They were also more likely to kind of do more things in the area, which is a key theme that we've been picking up on, including, attending a special event, doing some type of outdoor recreation like fishing, like playing golf, or visiting a museum as part of their trip. So diving into this a little bit further, we actually saw the highest response rate we've ever seen from the question of household income. Usually, it can be that prefer not to answer can be anywhere from 40 to, at times 50%. This time it was as low as 20%. So we really feel like we got some good data this year from this. And one thing that really stuck out in our mind was this 100 to 150,000 household income was the highest concentrate of surveys. That's for the first time ever. We also noticed that this 50 to 100 increased significantly, and that's where a bulk of our responses really came from in this survey. So there is a couple of really interesting things when it came to this household income question. Additionally, when we looked at the visitor profile, this groups of friends and couples was quite high compared to where it's been in previous years. We also noticed that more people are traveling with extended family than they have before. And there's some that kind of have been fluctuating, this couples and solo, but the one trend that we did notice was for the fourth year in a row, this intermediate family traveler segment has decreased a little bit. So, people are coming in many different forms, in many different ways, or at least they were last year. Another thing, and this is again with daily travel spending, we've really seen consistency recently among the spending in restaurants and lodging. So that overall travel direct spending and economic impact number, one of the factors that we think we've seen this past year was an increase in spend in shopping and entertainment and sightseeing, contributing to a slightly overall increase in total daily travel spend per visitor. Additionally, and I aggregated for the purpose of just making the information a little bit easier to digest, the previous fiscal years, but looking at the different types of attraction or different types of accommodations that people are staying at, whether they're staying, elsewhere or within our own market. Generally, the people that are staying in a traditional hotel, that percentage has not changed very much from where it has always been, as well as within a condo or a vacation rental. That did not change that much last year. What we did end up seeing was a decrease in the percentage of visitors who were staying with friends and family, and an increase in the percentage of visitors who were staying in some sort of home share rental. So that was kind of an interesting trend and a little bit of a, through line with this higher household income. Perhaps they're preferring to not stay with their friends and family and have their own space and stay in, something that's close by. We also observed, more trip activities. More visitors really went to museums. They attended a festival or special event, and did some type of outdoor activity. We've really been seeing this sort of diversification of activities and people taking advantage of all the wonderful things that we have in our area to experience. Overall, we've been seeing a slight increase of the total percentage of visitors that are in-state versus out-of-state. And overall, what we're kind of seeing is an increase in visitation from the Sarasota, Bradenton area. I kind of like to think of it as visitors coming up from I-75 and probably going over the Skyway Bridge, compared to visitors who are coming to us from I-4 and connecting to 275 that way. And then lastly, in terms of advertising recall, this is a question that we ask every year, and usually more people have said no, that they didn't recall our advertising, than say yes. And sometimes we get a high percentage of people saying maybe, or they're not sure. This is the first year where that yes was higher than the no. So we've really been making progress in people identifying our advertising and it being recalled before coming here to visit. And that draws us to another study that I wanted to bring up in tandem with the visitor profile. And that's our ad effectiveness study. So over the course of last year, we conducted about 12,600 surveys through panels to our key origin markets where we're investing a lot of our advertising. This helps us really measure the percentage of that population that is aware of our advertising, and if they've been influenced to take a trip as a result of seeing our advertising. We understand this data along with travel party spending, and we use that to kind of come up with, Future Partners uses that to come up with an estimate that derives, the economic impact of our advertising dollars. Overall, we had almost $350 million of direct visitor spending generated by our marketing investments, and a total economic impact of $262 million. So for about every dollar of our marketing investment last year, that was an average ROI return of $40.12. Kind of some key observations that I like to draw, and this is, a lot to look at, but overall across our markets, that ad likability and ad effectiveness remains very high, within the high 70s to low 80%, regardless of what market you look at. Talking about our, earned media and PR efforts, we've had unpaid media awareness grow across multiple areas, including TV, magazines, and online blogs. As well as our impact on likelihood to visit our destination increased slightly from 50 to 53%. So our ads are doing a little bit better than they were doing the last year. That's a lot of information, but to kind of summarize all of that for our third consecutive year, we had positive growth in direct spending, total economic impact, nearly in line with where we were last year from a TDT perspective. Our message appears to be more recognizable than ever before, as sort of seen in our visitor profile and ad effectiveness studies. And so we really believe that this marketing is contributing to a steady environment of bringing people to our destination to have great vacations.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Dylan.
Great report is all I wanted to say. It was really, really interesting reading through that. And that news about more ad recall that's pretty groundbreaking. Congratulations to the whole team.
Doreen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to go back on Eddie to kind of contribute some information as it relates to the vacation rental side of things and possible, sharing of the Airbnb. I'm asked questions as well, how that influences. And I look to our hotel partners for some of their input too. So just some comments. First of all, I think, we can't crunch the numbers any more than we have for October, November, and what will be December. This is just the anomaly. I mean, how do we answer that the leisure travel? I'm so glad to hear that the groups are ignoring where we are and they're coming back in. But the leisure travel, we can't change how it was affected. And I think the biggest side of that from my standpoint is that the vacation rental supply, we still have buildings that are shut down, and so that dollar that would have gone in, whether they're 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, Gulfront condos that are short-term rentals, they're not open, and they're probably not going to be open until January. So those numbers are off. Thankfully, the tax dollars that are being received by the hotels and the accommodations from the FEMA displacement, from the contract laborers and so forth, fortunately we do have those dollars coming in. But I think the upside to that, and this is where I look to the hoteliers, is that forecasting, our guests want to be here. Our repeat guests that are pre-booked and are booked in the future, they're here. In the interim, the properties that we do have that are open, we see, surprisingly, guests that are coming in and saying, okay, well, we realize your pool's not up, but the beach is available, it's clear, the buildings are safe, they're clean, the accommodations are there, they can have the activities, they're dining in the restaurants and going forward. So, there's some rate discounting going on to the people who want to be here in December and so forth. But, we lost the Thanksgiving market. I mean, it wasn't there for repeat guests. So we're encouraged by going forward. And I think that all that you do, reaching out to those interested travelers for future, the winter and the spring market, they'll be here. And we just, the doubling down on the efforts, making them aware that, the beaches are open, we're still shining, great messages, and that affects all of the ancillary in terms of entertainment, restaurants, and the businesses. That part of it is encouraging. But the other types of accommodations, when we talk about the third party, the Airbnbs and Vrvos and things like that, it's really hard for anybody because there isn't a centralized source, other than, yes, they're paying their taxes directly to the county, but how many of those homes have been damaged and aren't open? We can't track that, unless they're registered with an agency. But all those individuals that do pay tax, but they're all over the county, there's no way to determine how many of those have we lost for months at a time. So just some input.
Any other comments, questions? Outstanding job as always. Thank you, Eddie. And we're looking forward to Steve coming up. He's going to tell us how we're going to pivot. Dylan?
Can we have a 5-minute break?
Sure. We can have a 5-minute break. You all want a 5-minute break? We'll come back at 11:05, if that's all right. We'll add an extra minute. and give us our tactics and our pivot and everything that we're going to be going for after. Next.
Okay, do we have everybody back?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here again, just to give you an update and follow on from all of the great news of 2024. What are we going to do in 2025? So, as Chair Peters just said, it is time to pivot. As you all know, we launched Still Shining right after the storms in October, and I think, broadly speaking, we're very pleased with how that's been received, echoing that sense of resilience and that the sun is still shining and come back and all of those things that we have said before. So that's great. 2025, it's a new year. We need a new campaign and a new message. And so that message is built around this idea that we are a destination that combines our amazing beaches and great weather and amazing other things: gourmet dining, world-class arts, sports events, incredible natural beauty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really the focus, is we're all of these things. The creative is being worked on as we speak, so you will not see any of the creative today. Apologies for that, but the agencies are going to be working between now and January to get that all ready. So what I want to go through today is a little bit of why we're doing what we're doing and where you can expect all this advertising to appear. So first off, let's just go back to basics, if you will. The goal here is increase overnight visitation and visitor spending, especially during key need periods. And you saw from Eddie's presentation, we are starting to see some of those day trippers convert to overnight visitors. That's one of the reasons why we've been focused on the greater Tampa Bay area. So that is starting to work. We want to continue to build on that. The insight that we're using sort of for this campaign, a few things here. People love the idea of going to the beach, not a shocker. For many people, that is synonymous with being on vacation, right? The beach means vacation. And in a recent study from Future Partners, 3 out of 4 people say a beach is the destination they are most interested in going next. That's the vacation they want to take. And interest in taking a beach vacation at the beginning of this year was up over the beginning of last year. As Eddie just pointed out, we're also seeing that people are enjoying more activities when they come to our destination. More people visited a museum, as you heard. More people attended an event. More people did things when they got here. So that is a great foundation for us to build a campaign around. So America's favorite beaches, that's us, but we're much more than sand and sea. So our strategy here is to demonstrate that a vacation in St. Pete, Clearwater, means more than incredible beaches and warm weather. It's that and other things. So our tactics, we're going to continue to focus on our leisure business. That's the bulk of the business. And as we say, meeting planners are people too, so they will see our leisure advertising. But we have got some very strategic ways to reach that business audience as well. We want obviously relevant creative in our core markets, and we'll talk a little bit about where those are. We're going to continue to expand our reach through activations and sponsorships. You saw from Craig's presentation all of the places that we've been out of market. We have extended our sponsorship with the Philadelphia Union. We still have the Phillies down here. We still have the Blue Jays coming down here. And we are now the official beaches of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Contract not quite signed, but ads are already running, so you may have seen that. And what's exciting about the Lightning partnership is we get to showcase that on the away broadcasts of Lightning home games. So if you are in Chicago and you're watching the Lightning against the Blackhawks, on TV, you will see the official beaches of Tampa Bay on the boards around the ice. If you see in Amalie Arena, you won't see that, but only on TV. So we're very excited about that partnership. We want to continue to target that greater Tampa Bay area. It continues to grow. Leverage the events that we have, particularly the very big events, the Grand Prix, the Valspars of this world. How do we take advantage of the fact that those are seen nationally and in many cases internationally? How do we build on those? And of course, we want to differentiate ourselves through bold, creative ideas and design and some unique opportunities. And that's what the agencies are hard at work at right now. So from an audience point of view, and this is always strange because people say like, well, surely people outside of 25 to 54 come. yes, this is sort of the very center of the bullseye, if you will. When you're doing this advertising, think of all of these circles as an overlapping multi-level Venn diagram. We obviously are reaching people of all ages, and we're reaching people of all incomes, and people with all kinds of different travel intentions. But when they all layer together, this is our core audience. We want that 80-plus household income. Eddie just mentioned that is continuing to increase. We obviously want people that like the idea of going to the beach. If all you ever want to do is go skiing, we're probably not the destination for you. We want people who appreciate the arts and the culture and all of the ands that we've got to offer. And ideally, we're looking for people who want to relax and chill, or maybe they're curious and they want to explore. So all of these things are layered together in our targeting. The other thing that's changing rapidly now is how do you reach these people? We have a very, very fragmented media landscape, right? People don't just watch TV anymore. So how do you reach those people? A myriad of different platforms that we need to be on. Broadcast and streaming, analog and digital radio, traditional print and out of home, digital web, search, and social. All of these different places we can reach people. And then we've got very complex targeting opportunities now. There's the old-fashioned, if you will, geographic targeting, right? Put an ad in a market, you want people to see it. But that is sort of the base layer now. We've also got behavioral targeting, intent, content association, all of these different ways that we can put our messages alongside what we think are the right people to hear it. I'm not going to go through all the details, but this is how broadly we think about the journey of somebody that wants to come to St. Pete Clearwater, right? They're initially imagining it, they're dreaming it, they're loving the idea of vacation. Maybe they're seeing something on TV, maybe they're flipping through a magazine, maybe they're online, right? That's when they're dreaming. Then they go, you know what, I want to do that. I'm going to start planning. I'm going to start investigating. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to go to their social channels. I'm going to search it. They start planning it. Then they get to the point where they're going to book it. We've got our new booking engine that we're going to be rolling out soon. We've got digital ads. Then obviously they're here. They experience it. They see the events. They get the Funshine Savings Passport. And then it's also important to think, like, once they leave and go away again, we want them to reminisce. We want them to remember. We want them to post on social media what a great time they had when they were here. So I wanted to just give a sense of where we're spending the money. Chuck and I were talking earlier about New York City. As you can see, New York takes a big chunk of our budget. It's a very expensive media market to be in, but it's a very important media market for us to be there. So you can see here, we have a broad national always on, which sort of reaches all of those states that you see on the map, and the targeting for that is less about where you live, but who you are. And then the dots represent the different places that we're advertising and the approximate size of the spend in those markets. So you'll see places like Atlanta, Greater Tampa Bay. Orlando is still a very important market. It's a top 5 market for us still. So even though we've shifted money to Greater Tampa Bay, we're still very much advertising in Orlando and in Florida. You'll see we've increased our spend in Philadelphia. We've added, we're actually exchanged Indianapolis for Pittsburgh based on some travel data of where people were coming from. So this just gives you a sense of how we're dividing up. This all will likely shift and change, so don't take this to the bank. We're not literally going to spend every dollar in this market. As we see what's working and where it's working, we'll probably shift it, but right now this is how the plan is built. Similarly, I mentioned the fragmented market. Back when I started this would have been like 3 slices of a pie. Now it's all of these different things. So you can see, TV, which is both broadcast television and broadcast/cable, and then connected TV makes up the biggest bulk of where we spend our money. Radio is still very important, but then so is digital audio, which includes things like podcasts. Still need to be in print, still need to be an outdoor. Then obviously there's all the digital advertising. So you'll see at the bottom there, roughly speaking, we're about 47-52 between what would have been called traditional media and digital media. And for those that were here when I started this role back in February, March, one of the questions that was asked was, are we spending our money in the right way? Do we have the right spend? And we, in 2023, were roughly 75% traditional and 25% digital. And I said one of my goals over the 24 and into 25 was to start to shift that mix. And that's taken a lot of work from both BVK and Miles from our agency partnerships to figure out ways to make that work. So this year, we're very happy that we've got what we feel is the right blend between big, traditional, notice us advertising and very tactical, convert digital advertising and everything in between. So onto TV. I think, Dylan, you mentioned there's lots of places out there you can be. Not all of them necessarily are as reputable as others. We are a premium brand. We want to be associated with premium brands. So when you see us doing connected TV, we're on Hulu, we're on Netflix, we're on Amazon, we're on places that people know and trust, and the programming is stuff that we want to be associated with. And the same with NBC, CBS. We want to be on those sorts of channels. So you'll see the blue dots there represent the cities where we will have some sort of television presence. Similarly with audio, broadcast radio is still very important. We will have radio spots running in some of these high-index formats in stations and in the cities that we need to reach. We're going to be doing more with streaming, including an exciting new opportunity of dynamic audio ads, where the ad is literally what's the best? It's a Mad Lib of an ad, if you will, where it pulls together different elements based on who the person is that's listening, what the weather is where they are. So if you're in Chicago and it's raining, you're going to get a different ad than if you're in Atlanta and it's sunny. So we're excited to play around with those sorts of ads. We'll be also focusing a lot more on podcasts, as that continues to be a very important platform. Print, never underestimate the power of print. Katie showed the editorial series that we created with a couple of magazines last year. We're expanding that now. You can see at the bottom there, those city magazines, most of those are going to have this custom editorial where we work with the writers of those magazines to craft our story in a voice that makes sense in that magazine. And then we'll also have more traditional print ads in the travel publications. Billboards, great way to get noticed. You all know we did a lot with digital billboards around this area, particularly with Still Shining, leveraging which partners were open and who was still shining. We're going to continue to use those digital billboards. And then we've got some great out-of-home examples, the Tampa Premium Outlets that Katie mentioned earlier. We'll be in New York City again in the subway, and in mid-January, we are taking over one of the subway stations down near the World Trade Center. I think it's certainly a top 10 busiest station in New York City, where we will be everywhere you look, going down the escalator, going on the platforms, everywhere you go, you will see a St. Pete message. So we're going to own that station for about a month. Digital ads, incredibly important. This is where the targeting is less to do with where you live and more to do with who you are and what your behaviors are. Again, it's important to work with premium brands, so you'll see us working with people like Condé Nast and Meredith. This is also a part of our sort of always on, right? We want to make sure that we have need periods and we know roughly when people like to book their vacations, but we can't guarantee that that's the only time that anybody thinks about a vacation. So we want a always on strategy as well, and that's where digital plays a big role. And then custom content. This is the digital version of those advertorials, if you will. This is where we get more space to tell our story. We create content that people will spend time with, engage with, and then hopefully that translates to them engaging with us on our platforms. And lastly, but certainly not least, social and search. Social is incredibly important. It's how the vast majority of people of a certain age are getting all of their information, good, bad, and indifferent, right? So we have to be on those social platforms. We've got to have the right mix of authentic content. We've been experimenting with platforms, not just Meta, but also things like Pinterest and Reddit, and getting our message out there in ways that make sense for those platforms. And then search is critical. This is a evolving space, especially as AI becomes more prevalent. So how are we indexing our content? How are we making sure it's surfaced? How are we optimizing our site so that if somebody goes, I'm interested in that St. Pete Clearwater place, we are the thing that they find when they start searching that. So it's critically important that we continue to spend money in that area. So that's a super quick speed through of all the places we're planning on running the advertising. The next question is, what are we going to tell people? So, as I said, I don't have the advertising for you yet. It is coming. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about how the agencies are approaching this campaign. And so, broadly speaking, we are using this notion of and, right? So the statement that we've crafted here is, as America's home to America's favorite beaches, St. Pete Clearwater boasts 35 miles of sugar white sand with tranquil emerald green Gulf waters. Most destinations, if they were so blessed, would likely talk about nothing else. We are not most destinations. We are local fish shacks and world-class restaurants, 500 murals and unparalleled museums, legendary hotels and laid-back resorts, 200-mile-an-hour IndyCar racing, and serene nature preservations, where idyllic days were electric nights. Here, the contrast never ends, but each complement each other beautifully. So in St. Pete Clearwater, you'll find just what you're looking for and then some. So that's the framework for the campaign. None of those words will likely appear in any of the ads, but the concept of St. Pete Clearwater is this amazing thing and this amazing thing. That's the framework that you'll see, and we'll have TV, radio, print, digital, flyers, who knows? We'll have it all for you in the next meeting here in January. And with that, I am done. If you've got any questions.
Hey, Dylan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and great presentation. The digital billboard network, one of those bullet points said all of the out-of-home placement includes exposed mobile retargeting. That's the geofencing if the phone passes by.
Correct, exactly right. So it's somewhat accurate, right? It recognizes a certain number of phones and then will try to find you digitally later on. So it thinks you drove by this billboard and you're going to see a companion ad.
So cool. Thank you.
Yes.
So if it's rainy and cold in Chicago, you're going to get a different ad than if it's sunny in Charlotte. That's clever.
Yes.
I mean, I got to say that's real.
And to be honest, we haven't tried this yet. We're working on it with Sirius Pandora right now. So
Yeah, that's
we're
pretty
excited to see how this works.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Question I have, do we advertise in any other Canadian market other than Toronto?
Yes and no. The vast majority is in Toronto. That's where most of our direct flights. However, if you go back to the map, a lot of our digital advertising is not geographically targeted. It's targeting the person and their behavior. So all of those people, if they're in Ottawa, if they're in Halifax, they will see those messages as well. Okay. We don't have ads on the streets in those cities, if you will.
Got it. You know, the reason I ask is just anecdotally, it just seems like I see more license plates from Quebec than any other Canadian province. So, but yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Russ.
One of the things that's always important, and especially when you're trying to get business back in the leisure market again, I'm coming back to, is co-op advertising. What are we doing budget-wise, and have we increased it for especially the first 6 months of this next year with tour operators and booking people and agencies and stuff like that to try and get that leisure word out that we're open, their beaches are fine, and so forth. You know, Allegiant, are we spending more money with Allegiant Airlines in those destinations to keep that 2.5 million visitors into I and all? Are we increasing it? What are we doing there in that area for?
So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is we were talking to Allegiant last week about what else we can do with them and how we can expand our partnership with them, because obviously they're a critically important airline for coming down here. So we're looking at ways that we can work more closely with them. The co-op program that we have here, we have two parts to it. We have partners within the destination here who can advertise on our owned and operated properties. So our website, we rolled that out to people a couple of weeks ago with opportunities to be on the website, be in the emails, and all of those sorts of things. Coming in January, now that this is all finalized, we will have co-op opportunities for partners to be in some of these advertising places, be it sharing billboards, sharing print ads, things like that. We are increasing the amount of money we're spending, and we are also decreasing the amount of money that we're asking partners to put into that mix.
What I'm looking for is the co-op of outside the area, not necessarily within Pinellas County, but those that are bringing them business, the airlines or the the co-op and with Visit Florida that go inside those other areas that maybe could be a more immediate. They're not exposing the area, they're already thinking about booking the area. And for example, Allegiant Airlines, there's a story again in Florida Trend. They put in $700 some odd million into Punta Gorda, and they have 2 million passengers going into there. They got a resort with their name on it. They're trying to do something with. We need to be hitting co-op programs with them, putting them online to say, we want to do co-op programs into here, so you're featuring this area also, or more.
Yep, and we are.
Those are the things I'm thinking about to try and get that first 3 months until we get nice warm weather of Easter break. We need these programs that we're enticing them to do additional. Is what it seems like to me would be. That's what I'm asking about.
Yeah, no, we are doing some of that with Allegiant, and we want to do more. And so hopefully in January, we'll be able to roll out some other ones. They have been very focused on certain destinations, certain markets that they feel like they need to increase the travel down here, or new markets that they've added. Colorado Springs, for instance, is a new destination, new city flying into Pi that they are asking us to help support. But then we also work with other airlines as well, particularly, all over. We have a program specifically aimed at that. And then we work closely with Visit Florida. That's one of the reasons Jason's not here, is a Visit Florida program up in Toronto. So we are doing a lot of those programs. But we'll continue to look for more. And broadly speaking, Russ, yes, the amount of money we're spending on all of those things has increased.
And does the representative we have in the UK and in Germany, are they asking for increases too in co-op advertising with those that promote our area? I think we were there last month.
Broadly speaking, the amount we're spending internationally, we are looking to increase, particularly in the UK and Germany.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Well, earlier I made the comments I made because I just, and believe me, I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking to our hospitality industry in Clearwater and our city team, just to make sure we're not taking the foot off the gas. And even though we've had some good numbers on occupancy, just to make sure we understand who that may or may not be, and that there's still a lot of convincing that needs to be done for the leisure tourist, that we are still shining. That although I greeted a couple 2 days ago who were here from Canada, they said, oh, we take a cruise every year. We always book in the front and the back with the stay on Clearwater Beach. So I know, and I was talking with Dylan earlier, we're seeing those folks come back who are returning here. But I think there's still a lot of skepticism, and our marketing is fantastic. All you all do throughout the year, the team, I mean, it's just really amazing what you do. I just think that for some of the tourists, maybe a large portion, there's a healthy amount of skepticism that the photos we're using, the videos are airbrushed or old footage before the hurricanes. And I think what really resonates with people is experiences of people who have come here recently and promoting those experiences. So Fox 13 did a news story on like right after the hurricanes, and then now what our beach looks like. They highlighted our outstanding Parks and Recreation crew, what they've done to restore Clearwater Beach to make it look pretty much like it did before the hurricanes. They use drone footage, and it was fantastic. I think it told a story to the whole region about where we were, and now remarkably where we're at now. So I think those news stories are really good. And then Lisa was telling about 2 commercials that were filmed out on Clearwater Beach. One's Florida Citrus, I believe, Brian, that's coming up that'll be broadcast sometime, maybe with the bowl games over the holidays. But publicizing that, showing people experiencing the beach for things they've always done and having it look the same way. And then I think for us in Clearwater, the ReliaQuest Bowl Beach Day and New Year's Eve is really important for us to really lean into that, probably more than we normally would, to show those teams, the fans out there on the beach as it exists today, looking pretty much like it always has, having the same experience they've always had. I think those kind of experiences are really important to get out into the market and probably the Canadian market too for spring training to try to get those stories, that footage into the Canadian market to make sure that folks in Philadelphia and Canada, Toronto are understand, see those folks experiencing here over the holidays, and so they're more confident in rebooking for the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot there, but just quickly, I mean, so social media is going to play a big role in helping showcase, I mean, everybody's on vacation, they're taking pictures, they're sharing those pictures, amplifying people's experiences here. To your point, everything we've done in the Still Shining campaign has been very much geared to authentic images that were taken post-storm, and very clearly wanted to show that the destination was as you remember it, or almost as you remember it. And we've highlighted a lot of those, businesses reopening, that sort of thing. So that's critical. ReliaQuest, look, we all got really lucky with a Bama-Michigan matchup for that game. And so we've got commercials running in the game. We've got presence in the stadium, telling people. We've got Beach Day, obviously, that we're putting a lot of effort behind. We also have the Gasparilla Bowl coming on Friday. We have presence inside the stadium for that as well, reminding people of all the businesses that are open at the beaches over in Pinellas County. So, yeah, couldn't agree with you more.
I've shared this with Brian, but, at least Clearwater, the team means not just Visit St. Pete Clearwater, not just the city of Clearwater, Amplify Clearwater, not just the innkeepers. We all have to be a team together, working together. So I'm encouraging everyone in particularly our beach community, to get behind that effort, to show experiences and really leverage these opportunities.
Chuck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mirror Mayor Rector's comments in applauding you, your team, your partners. What a fantastic job you did. I was very much looking forward to the Fall Colors campaign. You put a ton of work into that and had to pivot very quickly to the Still Shining campaign. So we're all waiting with bated breath for next month for your new campaign. So I just wanted to look forward to that. But my question is the station takeover, which is always fun to see. Are you going to have any team members there, or is this just taking over all services with our ads?
This is primarily a take it over, and we're going to be taking photos, and we're going to have some press moments, but we're not having anybody stationed at the location.
And do we have that by for a week, a month, for a month?
Mid-January to mid-February.
Thank you very much.
It's cold and miserable in New York.
Perfect time. Warm down here.
Exactly.
Any other questions or comments? Mayor.
Oh, thank you,
Zaracki.
Madam Chair. So first of all, Steve, thank you for that wonderful presentation. I love your enthusiasm and getting us updated and keeping us updated. I have a question about the hyper-personal audio messages. So I had an experience where I went to Vrbo to look for a vacation rental for my wife and I, and then I was listening to Pandora, and then every 10 minutes, a Vrbo commercial kept coming on. Is that the same concept that you'll be doing?
Similar. So that's, not knowing exactly what they were doing, it's hard to say for sure, but they will have gotten a signal that you were on that website, and they're using that signal to then make sure that they serve you repeated ads. We do that. That's a lot of the contextual targeting that we do. So when we see a signal of somebody was looking at a Florida destination, we can advertise to that person about our Florida destination. What we're looking at exploring as part of this Pandora exercise is actually one more layer on top of that, which is if you are in Chicago and it's only 50 degrees, the spot is going to say, it's chilly in Chicago today, you should be in St. Pete Clearwater. But if you're in Atlanta and it's 70, it's not going to say that. It's going to say something different.
Well, what's funny about it is I was looking for a Vrbo in St. Augustine, and in the ad, it actually kept saying St. Augustine.
Yes. So that is exactly.
I was kind of, when you did it in your presentation, I was really impressed. Yes. And it worked. It works. Thank you so much again.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I'm going to move on to Brian for his comments and update.
Well, Real quick, Mayor, did it work? Did you book? Oh, okay. So just a few comments quickly to close out my portion. I just want to really reiterate the takeaways from 2024 were, $11.2 billion in economic impact. That's huge. That's why we do this. We had more overnight visitors travel to the destination last year, almost 5.5%, and they spent more money on those activities and shopping. So I want to make sure that is the takeaway from this meeting. We also have included in your packet those KPIs. I'm just really proud of the team on those KPIs. We put those into place back in January. First time we've had those KPIs, and some of the movement that you've seen on there is incredible. And it's great to see that where we are investing our, resources, both on the human and the capital side, it's working. And you can see it right there on those KPIs. So I look forward to continuing to see those grow. And speaking of our team and human capital, we do have a couple new members with the team. And first joining us is Tina Sheldon. And I'd like to recognize her, and I would ask you to join me in welcoming her to the team. Tina will be working with our executive leadership team to keep us on track and making sure that we move the ball forward. And then also, the gentleman sitting in the corner to my left is Blaine Williams. He is the newest Assistant County Administrator with Pinellas County Government, and the Visit St. Pete Clearwater is one of the departments that he will be overseeing. So I want to introduce Blaine. He comes to us from Athens, Georgia, where he was city manager, county manager for a number of years. So welcome, Blaine. I also want to remind you that our Visit St. Pete Clearwater annual meeting, it's coming back. It's January 16th. You should have received those invites. Hope to see you there. That's going to be at 2:30 at the Wyndham Grand on Clearwater Beach. And last but not least, unfortunately, but fortunately as well, this is our last meeting with Chair Peters as our chair. And I know personally I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know Commissioner Peters more this year, getting to work with her more. And, I'm grateful for what she brought to the industry, what she brought to this board, and what she brought to our organization. And I think that those efforts and priorities she had, those are going to continue with us all into the future. So I want to thank you for all that you've done for tourism in Pinellas County, all you've done for me, and all you've done for the Visit St. Pete Clearwater team. Yes. You do get a cool bag. And Eddie would appreciate it if you grab well, you know what, we can do the picture afterwards. Yes. I do have. You can see the "and" on there, so Steve made sure that was on there. That's all I've got.
Could I say a couple words before we close? Seeing that I've been on here for many years and all, I tell you, that I think the most rewarding year we've had is this last year, in that the challenges that our chair has had as the chair of the Board of County Commissions, not just this board, and the time that she's taken personally to travel for us to get the word out over the year. Even when she doesn't have a home, she's out there putting the word out about us. And people out there believe in elected officials. And I think it's been unbelievable, and I appreciate it very much of what you have done for us. And we thank your husband for putting up with it and all. I think also that today was a great reward in that those reports were a step up. Think about last year. They were a step up this year. The team that has done what they've done during this year, led by Brian and the new directors, the new people that we have here, the ones back in the office, please convey, that it's just been another step. And I think the chair made the recommendation to the Board of County Commission as a communicator. I think we got more funds. And I think also the idea of bringing on as a member the next chair of this group. We're sitting here in a whole different league stepping forward into next year by him being here, by Brian being here and all that. And that's going to happen again next month with whoever the new one is. But I think that's been great for us. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for everything, the chair, that you've done. And on behalf of everybody, if I could say that. And I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and I hope you get some days off to enjoy here. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate your kind words. And I echo the change this year has been incredible. Brian, you've had great leadership, and you have surrounded yourself with really amazing leaders. And this is why we had such a good report. And I do believe we're going to recover much quicker than most people expected. I think, as horrible as two storms are, and it's hard for me to say this because it just doesn't sound right, but having that second storm had a silver lining. And it's, like I said, somebody lost their home, that's a hard thing to say. But if it wasn't for that second storm so close, the resources from the state would not have come down. The resources from the federal government would not have come down so quickly. I mean, when that second storm was forecast, we got every DOT truck in the state to show up on our beaches and clean up the debris. And, that doesn't happen. Down in Fort Myers, there's still debris. Yeah. How many, year and a half, 2 years later? We have been able to recover so quickly. We still have a long way to go, but we're recovering quicker than any other community that's been hit by one storm, much less two storms. And so, Lord has a strange way of giving us a silver lining, but we really have recovered quickly. And I think this team pivoting as quickly as they did, that London Trade Show, as difficult as it was to get there, at that moment of what was going on, was the right thing to do. And it was a quick, again, pivot to let the world know that we're open for business. It was important. I think bringing Brian on board, was smart because he can just step right in and he knows exactly the direction you're going. And you don't have somebody having to learn it before they can get going or come in with whole new ideas and wanting to change everything because he's kind of been brought along the way. I think that was a good move, and I'm grateful to the board that supported that move. I'm also grateful for Brian allowing me to have every commissioner, because we have a lot of new commissioners, to go on some of these trade missions and some of the work that you all do, because I will tell you, I've been on this commission, this is my 6th year, and I had no idea how this all operated before I became chair. So I had a learning curve, but going to London and seeing how the sales work, seeing how all that worked, it's like all of a sudden it's like, wow, so we understand it. So when you come to the commission and you want changes, you want different ordinance changes or, anything you want to do or different budgets, if all of the commissioners understand how this works, then we have a much better chance of getting the future mission of this organization going. And so I think, some people didn't get to go on those trips because hurricanes or other reasons that they weren't able to go and attend. But I hope Brian will continue that, especially since we have 2 more new commissioners, that they get to go and understand how this works and how the magic that they're doing articulates into greater spend here in this area. And I think this year on this board has helped me understand, even on the race vote, why it was so critically important. And so for those that haven't had the opportunity to experience this, don't know this yet. So I think those small little tweaks and changes make a big difference. So I hope Brian will continue that. I'm going to miss you all. I think this is a great board. We have an awesome team here. We have great staff. I'm going to miss them monthly, but I am leaving you in outstanding hands because Commissioner Scott is going to be a great leader for not only this board, but for the county commission. I have total confidence in him, and he's just going to bring something in addition that's going to take us to the next level in everything you do. So I can pass that gavel over to him, but you're going to be very happy with his leadership. I'm confident in that. So thank you all. And we'll get off to eat and no more talking and celebrate and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to next year. And more importantly, I'm looking forward to getting a permit so I can get back in my house. But thank you all.
If we could
Oh,
just do some.
sorry.
Thank you. Just wanted to do a couple of quick board comments, kind of segueing off the learning curve for new commissioners and so forth, and for our new, or some of our maybe newer TDC members. My role from the TDC is to also be on the board of directors of Creative Pinellas, which I have been a board member on and off TDC representation since its inception. And so I'm looking forward to, personally meeting Blaine and knowing his involvement as the assistant county administrator, working with Brian and our whole team at VSPC with Creative Pinellas as the local arts agency for Pinellas. So I just wanted to give some brief information. We did have what used to be our Arts Annual Gala, which used to occur in November. It was moved to December 7th this year, and it was tweaked to become the Hurricane Relief Fundraiser, not just the gala as such. And so from that, we had 130, almost 130 artists from Pinellas County that participated in that gala. I don't have a full attendance numbers, but I know that there were hundreds of paid ticket holders and attendees. And the good news is that from that, we had a goal of giving back funds to artists and arts organizations in Pinellas County that were impacted by the hurricane. Wasn't everybody in some way or another. And so there was $20,000 that was given back to the arts community through those efforts and through Creative Pinellas. So working together, again, we see that cooperative spirit. It helps educate the county commissioners and our residents, everything that we do through the arts agency for Pinellas, and continuing to grow that and having a better understanding when we're looking at budgeting and how do we fund and going forward into the future. So thank you for that opportunity to share.
Thanks, Doreen. And Commissioner Scott?
Yeah, just real quick. It's been great to sit here over the last 6-7 months and get up to speed on everything, so I'm really looking forward to working with everybody next year. I thank Commissioner Peters for all of her leadership. She is probably the first chair of the county commission in probably Pinellas County history to have to lead through not one, not two, but 3 tropical events. So I'm hoping that you did all of that heavy lifting this year and that I don't have to deal with any of that in 2025. So I just want to put that out there. But I am really looking forward to it. And Brian, you're doing great work. And it's going to be a great 2025, and I think we are going to recover very, very quickly, and I think next year our TDC collections are going to be looking way up. So, thanks. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay. Any else for the good of the board? All right, well, meeting adjourned.